Hi, welcome to the small shed. Today I want to try and solve the mystery of the disappearing sawdust. See you in a minute. Now, I've been using the cyclone for about 6 months now, and the other day I thought it was time I ought to empty the bin. So I ripped it all apart to have a look at it, and I was a bit surprised with what I found. So let's just go and have a look at it. Right, so here's the problem. I've checked this, it's been working reasonably successfully, it's been extracting quite happily for about 6 months. And I checked the top, and as I would have expected, there is some light dust in there which needs cleaning out, but it's saved a massive amount of trouble with the filters, if you see what I mean. It's taking out the big stuff by the look of it, but not the small stuff. That may be a factor of how far down the tube goes into the cyclone. We'll test that out later. But when I go to the box to empty it, there is virtually nothing in there. Again, a little bit of dust, but really there's just nothing much there. So the question is, it's not in the cyclone, it's not in the box, it's not in the top. There's only one place it can be, and that's in the ducting. So what that's telling me is two things, I think. Firstly, this thing has got enough strength to suck the dust, but not pull the big stuff in by the look of it. Now I don't know whether that's a fault of the system here, the ductwork, or a combination of the two. I know, for instance, there isn't a particularly good seal between the cyclone and the box, so there may be air getting in through there that's stopping it being very efficient, but I'm not sure. So I think the first thing to do is to basically take it all apart and check the cyclone just with a 4-inch pipe on it and see how well it will work. And then we'll work our way into the ductwork. It may be that some of these covers that I've put on just aren't airtight enough. But as I need to rearrange this slightly anyway, now is the time to do it. So we'll put this back together, and then we'll get the 4-inch pipe on a bucket full of shavings that I've taken out of the planer, and we'll see what they do. So it doesn't look like there's a lot wrong with the actual cyclone itself. So it's a matter of taking the ducting apart, rearrange it the way I now want it built, and seal it up and test it pieces along, piece by piece as I go, and see if it's, I think it's probably just the outlets that I had on that weren't very well sealed. That seems to be working fine now. I've just noticed another small problem. There is a build-up here, and it seems to be having a problem getting around this corner. There's a very sharp angle on it, and that could well be where there is an issue with flow. It's coming in there, going at right angles and then right angles again. So I'm going to take this corner bracket out, come straight out I think with an outlet, and see if that helps, because that's clearly a restriction. And the fact that I've got two of those corners on the corner of the room would indicate that that may be where the problem lies, and as they're coming out as well, that should help resolve the situation. And the shoddy workmanship continues. When I pushed this whole length of trunking into that junction, I didn't seal that up with tape, so not only is that one of these nasty right angle bends, it's got a lot of air getting in through there. You can just see and put your hand in. I'm also finding down the bottom of these vertical ducts is where some of it's gathering, so it does look like it's a combination of ducting and gaps, but as I said, I am taking all of this side out anyway. That gives me a couple of inches of extra width on the shed, just so I can do the rearranged layout. Again, I think you can probably see all the way up there. There is debris all the way along, and it just seems to gather at the bottom of these right angle joints, so it's clearly impeding the flow. Yeah, I'm just stopping any leakage from the seal between the cyclone and the bin at the bottom. Previously it was just basically the fit between the two bits of wood, which is probably not ideal, so I'm just putting a bit of the foam rubber strip around all the edges so that when it beds on top it should keep it completely sealed. And then I've recut the back outlet, which has taken away the very sharp right angle join, and I've put that type of fitting on it, so that should help ease the flow into the cyclone. It's still not ideal, it really should be funneled in, but I haven't got the room or the pieces to do that. But we'll give this a go now. I just want to seal these gaps up with some silicone to stop any air getting in round the edges there. Just finish this last bit up at the bottom, and we can give it a go on its own, and that will tell me then whether I'm wasting my time or not, because this is just a straightforward 4-inch vacuum at that point. Right, so let's have a go and see whether or not it's now working a bit better and actually picking stuff up. That's much better. There is still a little bit of stuff gathering in that corner. I think the slot is slightly too short, so I'm just going to extend that little slot in the cyclone as well, but it looks now as if we're getting somewhere. So there we are, we've finally got there at long last. It's taken at least a year, if not more, to get this right, I think. But we've now got a system that is much more simple than the previous one. Keep it simple, stupid and all that. I just need to attach that bracket to the wall when I've got some wall outlets in as well, some different ones. I've got some smaller ones to fit in the ducting as well, that flap open and self-seal when they're shut. And at the moment I'll just have the 4-inch, there's a couple of 4-inch with a cap when I'm not using them. Cyclone's connected up. The actual cyclone itself is now, I think, working. We'll check that out as well and clear this lot up. Well, that's solved that little problem and mystery, and it's highlighted just what a minefield it all is at the area of duct sizing and restrictions in flow and cubic feet per minute and skin friction and all sorts of things. We've got a system that's now working. We now got a fortnight's sawdust out of it into a large bin, so it's working as it should do, and hopefully now we can get on with using things like the thickness planer and the lathe that produce huge amounts of sawdust and chippings, so we get on with that. Look forward to seeing you next week, and we'll be making something different. See you then. Bye.